Khan, the education minister of India, has resigned. Now this comes after the protest that was conducted or led by CJP, that is the Cockroach Janata Party. However, during those protests, allegedly a lot of atrocities were there. At the same time, surveillance was also quite strong. So what is happening is, it is alleged that the Delhi police had done surveillance. Not just that, are using the facial recognition. It is alleged that they are using facial recognition technology, the biometrics, and after using all that, identifying the people, storing the data, and then filing FIR on all the protesters, as a result of which the surveillance and the facial recognition at Jantar Mantar by the Delhi police has come under legal challenge. That means it has been legally challenged that they cannot do this. So in this video, we will see, are Delhi police well within their rights to do that, or they cannot do that? Is this legal or illegal? What the law says in India and abroad, all that and much more is what we will see in this video. So what's the news all about? The news is about the Delhi High Court's PIL. PIL is the Public Interest Litigation, that is PIL. Right, so even if you are not the one who's directly aggrieved, but you know the larger society is getting aggrieved, so you will have a locus standi, a reason for file a PIL in the court for the betterment of the society, and that is exactly what has been done over here. This challenges the police's surveillance at Jantar Mantar. Now this has been filed by former JNU-SU president Aishe Ghosh. Name is not important, but remember, it was filed as a PIL. It basically challenges the permanent surveillance tower and high-tech police vans permanently established there, wherein every second basically they are doing the surveillance over there. So that has been challenged over here. So what's the central issue? Balance between police surveillance and fundamental right to privacy in public spaces. There is also, just because you are in a public space does not mean anyone, anytime, for any reason can record you. Right, there are certain privacy rules also within the public space as well, but at the same time you have to balance it with respect to the safety and security. So there needs to be a proper balance, not a random implementation or a permanent nature of a permanent nature. Right, so that is what is being contested. So let us understand the rationale behind it, whether it is too much or not, all this and much more. Before we move ahead, an important announcement with respect to the new batches that are starting at Legacy IAS Academy. Once you enroll, see, the batch size would be maximum 40. Right, so because of that small batch size, there would be high personal attention on each and every aspirant. The new batches, regular batch starts from 3rd of August, and the weekend batch specifically tailor-made for the working professional and the college-going aspirants starts on 8th of August, in addition to other batches that are also there. Once you enroll with Legacy IAS Academy, there are of course a lot of advantages. Some of them are listed over here. First is the comprehensive coverage of GS papers. Second, one-on-one mentorship and doubt solving sessions. Third is regular interaction with the educators. So these two are the game changers. Maximum size will be 40, and daily mains answer writing practice will be there. In addition to this, the prelims as well as mains test series is there to provide you one-stop solution for your UPSC requirement. And when it comes to the current affairs, there's a 360-degree approach wherein the entire week's current affairs are covered via live classes, are taught to you via the live classes. Now, there are optionals also which play a very important role. The most popular or the most easiest, concise of the optionals are present over here. So you have psychology, PSIR, anthropology, the syllabus of which it's most concise, and sociology, again another concise syllabus, are all offered at Legacy IAS Academy. The classes for which are going to start from 17th of August. So if you are trying to attempt for 27 or 28, this is the best time for you to start your optional course as well. Right, so if you want to enroll with us in any of the course, you can simply download the app or call on this number to enroll. Now let's continue with the news. So let's look at petitioner's core allegation. What is the core allegation of the petitioner? The petitioner has called this surveillance as continuous, indiscriminate and intrusive surveillance. Continuous means it is happening every single second. Indiscriminate, anyone and everyone they are surveilling. whoever that is, whether protesters or not, for every single second. And it is intrusive surveillance because it is creating intrusion in the personal life or the privacy of the people in public spaces. Now this surveillance is round the clock monitoring, photography, videography, with no disclosed statutory authority or procedural safeguard. So people's photos, videos, etc. are being recorded and being used for surveillance, right? It has extended to daily activities of eating, resting, seeking medical help. No matter what a person is doing, they are still surveilling them as well, right? Now the disproportionate, it has also alleged that there is a disproportionate impact on women. Now how is that possible? See, what's happening is, during heavy rainfall, women are lacking, people are lacking shelter, including women, as a result of which they have to be outside the shelter in the drenched clothes. And in that situation also, they are being surveillance is being carried on out on them, and their photographs and videographs are being recorded and stored for surveillance purposes. That is why there's a double jeopardy. Recording women in such vulnerable physical condition is also happening over there, right? Now what is the constitutional framework that was invoked by the petitioner? The petitioner invoked the following articles: article 14, right to equality and protection from arbitrariness, any arbitrary surveillance cannot happen. Article 19, freedom of speech and peaceful assembly, someone is peacefully assembling over there, then you cannot do it. Article 21, right to life and personal liberty, it includes privacy as well as a person's dignity is also included in it. Then anchored in KS Puttaswamy, means it also invoked KS Puttaswamy versus Union of India 2017 judgment, which recognized privacy as a fundamental right. So privacy is a fundamental right as recognized in the Puttaswamy case, in whose bench the Chief Justice of the later on who became the Chief Justice, but at that time was the Supreme Court Judge DY Chandrachud was also present. It was about right to privacy. It's now a fundamental right, right? So what is the Puttaswamy triple test, or the triple test that came out of Puttaswamy judgment? It has three layers. One is legality, it should be backed by a valid legitimate state aim, there should be an objective for that particular surveillance. Then legitimate, so legality, it should be backed by a valid law. Second, legitimate state aim, there needs to be an objective, a reason for doing it. Third is proportionality, it should be proportionate to that aim. Proportionality means what? Let's say if someone slaps you, now you cannot just go ahead and beat them black and blue. That's not a proportionate response, right? It's so for example, if any crime is committed, the punishment should also be proportionate to the crime that is committed. Just because, let's say, you have stolen a biscuit packet, that does not mean that you will be given a death penalty for that. So that is what proportionality is. So that should be there. Now the petitioner is arguing that at Jantar Mantar, surveillance fails all the three prongs, or all the three layers, or all the three requirements of the Puttaswamy triple test. Now what's government's defense? Government is saying that the videography of protest is a standard accepted law and order measure for public safety. It is being done for public safety, and it is simply a usual thing. Claims that privacy argument is moot in public gathering. So when there is a public gathering, then you cannot invoke privacy argument over here, is what they are saying. Now the idea is, of course, here safety security comes in, but the petitioner also said if someone is having food, having medical attention, even that is being surveilled. So indiscriminate surveillance is also a concern. Now what is India's regulatory framework? There is no dedicated legal framework governing the FRT, facial recognition technology, or AI surveillance by the law enforcement. So there is no law. In fact, the last year's economic survey chapter 13 talks about artificial intelligence and talks about how the regulatory or laws are not improving, increasing, improvising, or coming, wherein the technology is improving day by day. So that clearly can be seen over here. At the same time, the FRT process, it captures facial features from live feed, digital template, matches against the police database. So it is directly taking a live feed every time. No one is taking a permission for that, right? That is the idea. Now what is the global comparison over here? So if you look at the global comparison and talk about the European Union, so Article 5 of European Union's AI Act, it prohibits real-time remote biometric identification. real time, right, in publicly accessible spaces for law enforcement. See, you can call someone to the police station because of various reasons, or reach out to them and then take their consent and do the recognition, etc. And you can store that data. But in real time, when people are in the event of doing something, having their lunch, etc., even in a public space, the European Union AI Act prohibits any such things, and the exceptions are also very narrow. So for example, missing persons, abduction victim, imminent terrorist threats, serious crime suspects, only in that case you should do it. So the ambit of doing it is very narrow over here. So this can be something as a, a blueprint, or not a blueprint, at least a guideline on which India can also come up with its own laws in order to ensure that the balance of safety as well as privacy is maintained.